Hello, hello. This is Susanne McAllister, your host, and I'm here with the new episode this week. I'll be talking about what are the signs and symptoms of anxiety and when is too much, when you really know that it's time to get professional help and when it's time also for your child. So I work both with adults, but I also work a lot with children, and I also work with parents that support children that are anxious. So that's a really, really important question. People ask me all the time, when do I know too much is too much? Because if you listened to last week, we talked about that we all have a certain amount of anxiety, and that is a natural and normal part of our lives because we need that fight or flight or freeze or fawn to survive. And we needed that for millions of years to develop. But when is too much too much? I actually read some very, very interesting research today from a person. He wrote a book called Simplicity Parenting or something like that. I'll put that in the show notes as well there for you. And he talked about that he worked a lot with children in war zones. And he also worked with children in London. And it was quite astounding to him that they both had the same symptoms of anxiety in their life. Imagine that, the children in the war zone that had the threat of death, the threat of war, the threat of all the fears that they would have. And then he was working with middle class children in London that actually had quite a good life. But their anxieties and their symptoms, the way they were in life, it was nearly the same. And it was quite astounding to me as well. All right, so let's talk about what are actually the symptoms and when do we know? When you're a child or even when you're an adult, it might be that you don't want to leave the house, you don't want to go to work, children don't want to go to school. There might be a difference in your sleep habit or patterns, and that can be both ways. So it can be either using this to disappear into dream world and sleep world, sleeping, be able to sleep, which I would love to be able to do that. I'm the opposite. Like, you know, like if you know me, I'm a psychotherapist, I'm a mindfulness teacher, so and I'm even a yoga teacher, and I do breath, I do meditation, and I have to use my own tools. That's how I know how they work. This is why what I do works really, really well with clients, because it's all been tried and tested on me for over 20 years and been tried and tested on clients for over a long time as well. All right, so this is quite so, and the other side of the sleeping is as well. So either disappearing in sleepland, wanting to sleep, not wanting to get out of bed, or not being able to sleep, interrupted sleep, doesn't want to go to bed, doesn't want to get up, awake at night, fears, maybe nightmares, fatigue, difficulty to focusing at work, focusing at school. So there might be things with friendships. So as adults, we're like quite better at hiding these things. I work with a lot with young women. They have their own companies. They're super successful. They're out there on social media. It looks astounding, but on the inside, they still have this anxiety that's crippling them. But on the outside, they have this beautiful, amazing life on Instagram. And that is part of them as well. That is part of them. They have this very high functioning part of them, and then they have this crippling anxiety where it takes them a lot to project that image out into the world. And it's going to be so much better when we work with this and we integrate one and the other. And that also comes then from the more authentic life, living from the more authentic life. So they might want to avoid people or circumstances. Eating habits might change. They might overeat because they might be compensating their fears, overeating, craving carbs, craving chocolates, craving the food, or under eating and just tummy ache, can't eat, don't want to eat. So both things again. So that's why sometimes it's very hard for the layperson to know what's actually going on. that's when we do need some professional help, and always really make sure it's a person that's that you can trust, somebody that's been highly qualified. That's how I became an expert on anxiety, from studying for many years about what's going on. And I was at a 1-year-old's birthday party yesterday, and it was quite astounding. I really loved being there and cuddling with that 1-year-old. Oh my God, she's so gorgeous. And I was speaking to somebody who wants to write a book about how the mind works, and how to only use facts and discard all the beliefs that we come up with. And then I was having the argument about, well, what about intuition? What about gut feeling? What about spiritual beliefs? Because I do feel we have so much anxiety in our society because we don't have that basis, like the belief that there's something bigger than us taking care of us, or he's being there for us. And I'm by no means saying that this is the answer and become extremist in any way, but like this trust that, you know, the universe or God or whatever you believe in is having your back and is looking after you. That does reduce anxiety in our lives if you have that belief. But many of us don't have that. So his idea for the book was to discard everything that's not fact. But, you know, how do you go with your intuition? How do you go with your spirituality? And when we tune into our soul, how do you prove that? Anyhow, let's go back. So difficulty concentrating, fatigue, feeling nervous and panic, restless, having a lot of tension in the body as well. So that's me always like iron shoulders, like in the neck and the trapezius muscles here, tummy aches, really holding the tension. Sometimes we have grinding the teeth at night. You'll have that with a lot of children and a lot of adults as well. Increased heart rate, even can't control the worry, can't control the thinking. They can even be shaking and sweating and trouble sleeping. So what causes it? This is the fight or flight symptoms that I've been talking about. So where we perceive we're in danger, we're in fear, and it can be driving on the motorway, it can be going to class, it can be so many things, you know, going to work, transitioning from primary school to high school. So all the things that are normal, they're transitional in our lives. And the more we try to protect ourselves, so the more we try to avoid the situations, the harder it becomes to then step out. So when I've got clients that have been in lockdown, for example, and they kind of are quite comfortable with that. They're like, yes, finally, I don't have to be anywhere. I don't have to go anywhere. I don't have to constantly challenge myself to do all the things that normal people are able to do. Normal in exclamation marks if you watch me on YouTube, obviously. And the more they're locked themselves in at home, even though it was like lockdown from the government, but the more they do that, the more they feel comfortable, but the less then they're able to step out, and everything causes social anxiety. So also one thing about the simple parenting or simplifying your life. So how we help our children as well as how we help ourselves is to simplify our lives. So our children, they don't actually often have downtime. I had a client yesterday and she was in grade 9, and we talked about what does her week look like. And there was no time for her. There wasn't a day that did not include a scheduled event of some sort. I know, and she loves her sports and that's her balance, but even that does bring a lot of pressure as well. Like little Maria, who really, she loves her sport, she loves her gymnastics, she's in a performance team. I saw her yesterday, but we talked about that that there was no day. And yeah, so grade 9 as well. Well, she was not that little, sorry. And grade 9. So it's important to simplify. So we need downtime. I think now, like, we have too much stimulation, too much choice, and too much information. So it's going to be to instead of the FOMO, the fear of missing out, it's about the YOMO, the joy of missing out, and to teach that to our children, to teach that to ourselves as well, to switch off when we need to. And so one of the things that I've been working on with some of the parents that I've been working on, because sometimes we want to treat our children with having in mind that we want to have to let, it's not anymore, it's actually the opposite. It's not anymore the thing where we're like, oh, they can't be seen, or we hide all these things from them. It's the opposite, where they can access so much information, and we want to sit down and we want to talk to them about what's happening. But so there's 4 questions before we share any information with somebody that has anxiety. And if that is you and you're listening and you're a young adult or an adult suffering from anxiety, if you're a child listening to this, and if you're a parent listening to this, helping a child with anxiety. So there are 4 questions that we can ask ourselves how we can screen. Do I want to consume that information? Do I want to watch this movie? Do I want to have this conversation? Do I want my child to know that information? So 4 questions. Is it kind, the information that the person with anxiety will consume? Number 2, is it necessary? Is it necessary to know that now? What happens if he or she doesn't know that information now? And is it true? Is it the truth? And whose truth is it? And how do I know that this is true? Because often there are fears and there are speculations. And the 4th one, that's a very important one. Does it make me feel safe? Does it make my child feel safe? Does it make the person with anxiety feel safe? So that's the 4 filters that you can filter anything that you share through. So is it kind? Number 1. Is it necessary? Number 2. Is it true? Number 3. And number 4, does it make you or your child feel safe? Because sometimes it doesn't. And sometimes children, they ask 100 questions, and sometimes you're not ready to answer these questions. As a parent, it's also okay to say, that's a good question. Let me think about that. Just let me consider that, and I get back to you. But really make sure that you do get back and filter it through. The information is on a need-to-know basis when you deal with somebody with anxiety. I have a client called 𝐦𝐤, and she gave her permission to talk about this. She has driving, so it's very hard for her to drive on the motorway. And we talked about, so because she has the traffic, so like even like when her partner drives her around, like she always has like, when there's like a traffic or an accident, like her radio is set so that the traffic news come on for her so that they know which places to avoid. But is that actually kind to herself that she has that set? Because as soon as there's an accident anywhere I think it goes like out to Brisbane way, like where I am. So is that kind that she listens to that there was an accident, and because of this, there is a traffic jam? And is it necessary for her to know that when they might just be driving to the next supermarket? Does she need to know that there's been an accident 50 kilometers away from her? And so is it true? Yes, it's true. But also the thoughts that she has about that, because she doesn't get the whole information. We don't get the information. We just hear, oh, there's been an accident and therefore there's delays. And for somebody with anxiety, that can go then into catastrophe, where the worst scenarios, the worst pictures that could be her, that could be just thinking, somebody that I know, somebody that I love driving that way, what's going on? For somebody with anxiety, yeah, that's true. There might have been an accident, but you don't know to what extent that accident has happened, like what really happened. It might just be a little bit of damage. Nobody got hurt, but just the way the cars are positioned is going to take a while to clear it up. But she does not know that when she drives in the car. that does not make her feel safe. Number 4, does it make her feel safe to consume that information? So it doesn't. And for her, she always kind of wanted that on, and then we like switched it off. Why? So instead of that, we have, because I use hypnotherapy, I use NLP, so I use a model with my clients as well, where they're reprogramming their own beliefs. So how about listening to that? Have that in your ear. It's like, I feel safe today. I'm safe on the road. I always feel safe. Everything is good. I'm protected. Affirmations that really work for her. So instead of replacing that, so it's very important to know what information you share with yourself. So what you expose yourself to if you're anxious, and also if you're a parent of an anxious child, what information does the child need to listen to? If you have an anxious child and the child sees you watching the news 24/7, being anxious yourself, is it kind? Is it necessary? Is it the truth? Because we don't know the truth even when we watch the news about everything that's going on. And does it make you and your child feel safe? So there are just a few tips for you to have today, like when so today was about the signs and symptoms and how much is too much and what to look out for. So when a child doesn't want to go to school, has constant tummy aches, does not sleep, and when an adult feels the same and just not function, it's really time to do something about it. Also, when you are high functioning, but do you really want to put yourself through that torture all the time? Wouldn't it be better to find the tools that are necessary to help you through? I do definitely think so, but then this is what I do. So I help people, and I'm launching a new course called Boundless that actually helps and teaches the tools necessary to help yourself. So it's a self-help course. I'm sharing with you tools that in over 20 years of holistically working with clients that have helped my own anxiety reduce that, and it will help you to reduce your own anxiety, and also that of children that you're supporting and children that live with you. So I'm super excited about that. One of the things I'll be teaching on there is like the 5P models, which assesses really what is it that you need and what is it that you need to work on right now. It's quick and it's easy. It's a 5P model that I'll be teaching on there. All right, so I hope you got something out of this today. You kind of know now which signs or symptoms to look out for. And today I shared with you some simple strategies to really filter through the 4Ps. Is it no, that's from 5Ps, sorry. From the simple parenting strategies. So the things that you expose yourself to and the things that you expose your children to, is it kind? Is it necessary? Is it true? And does it make you feel better? Does it make you feel safe? So that's it from me for today. So I do have some free resources for you. So I've got free video courses if you are a parent of an anxious child. It's going to be in the show notes on my YouTube channel, and it's also in the show notes on the Susanne McAllister podcast. And I also have a little video course for you if you're an adult suffering from anxiety that will help you, has some tips and tricks and simple strategies that help you straight away to feel better. That's it from me for today. And also, if you subscribe to these and get the free video courses, that will also get you on the wait list because I'll be beta testing this course of mine, and I'm going to offer it for a special rate for the first 30 people on the beta list. So if you want to be on there, you can just subscribe, go to my website, SuzanneMcAllister.com, subscribe to any of the video courses that will get you on the waitlist straight away to the Boundless course that I'll be launching in August. And that's going to be leading edge, revolutionary, because anxiety has not been around for that many years. And especially not from a holistic angle and from an anxiety expert that, like me, that comes from mindfulness, that comes from therapy, that comes from cognitive behavioral. So I really want you to learn the things that I've been teaching my clients, because some of the things I'm teaching them the same thing over and over and over, and you could be able to use that yourself without having to go for years into therapy or sending your child for years into therapy. So that's other things that coming up for you, and I'm super excited about that. All right, this is it for me for today. I hope you'll have a good week, and the next episode will drop next Saturday, so look out here on YouTube and on my podcast. And yeah, there's lots of free resources and blogs on my website there for you as well. And if you want to be part of my parenting group there, which is called the Mindfulness Parenting Squad, they're on Facebook there as well. Follow me there, and I put the link in there as well. You can join the group there for free and get lots of things. Every Monday we have motivational tips, and Tuesdays we have a calm mind. On Wednesdays I do self-care, which is really cool, and on Thursdays we have calm body. And then we have a Q&A once a week where you can ask me anything and I'll be answering. Like when you get that opportunity that you can ask an expert on anxiety and a qualified person like me anything, and a coach. So here I am. I'm available for you because I'm on a mission to help 1 million people with anxiety, and I'll be out there with you, helping you along as good as I can. All right, that's it from me. Feel free to leave me a good review, because that will put the podcast and the YouTube out to anybody else that might need this. And be kind, and I will talk to you next week. Thank you so much.